Hi, I'm Phyllis, and we're ready to make true French bread. First thing that we will need is a large pan, and we're going to actually end up putting 2 loaves of French bread on this pan. And what you will need to do is coat the pan with some Crisco, then dust the pan with some cornmeal. Alright, the ingredients for the dough is going to be, we use King Arthur bread flour, and that would be 7 cups. I'm going to use a tablespoon of canola oil, 1 tablespoon of salt. Now that's not a teaspoon, it's a tablespoon because we're making 2 loaves. You'll need 2½ cups of lukewarm water, and that really needs to be about 110 degrees. And you're going to pour part of that water into another little cup and mix 3 packs of yeast along with 2 teaspoons of sugar, and let that yeast prove out. See how it's all foamed up? That's all you need to do. Let it foam up a little bit. Again, the water needs to be 2½ cups, and take 3/4 a cup and put it in another cup. Okay, the other thing that you will need is a large mixing bowl. And then you will need another bowl that you will have greased with Crisco, because this is a bowl where the dough is going to rise. Alright, we're ready to get started now. Alright, here we go. First thing we're going to do is dump the water in. Then we're going to dump our yeast in. Try to get all of that out to the foam and everything. This is where the yeast are reproducing. That's what's making that foam. We're going to put a tablespoon of salt in. Don't worry about doing a lot of mixing here. Then we're going to start dumping our flour in. Now, French bread is a more coarse bread, and it's very simple ingredients, and it's going to have a hard crust on it. So we're going to put about maybe 3/4 of that flour in, and just start squishing it up with your hands. Now this water is warm. We don't want the yeast to get chilled. So we're just going to mix it with your hands. Try to keep one hand clean if you can. Mix it all up. It's going to be a rather coarse flour. Now French bread is very good with soup, salad, especially good with spaghetti, and it's also good with anything that's got a gravy or a sauce with it. And that way you can just sop up that gravy and sauce with the bread. Alright, I'm going to dump a little more flour in. Now, French bread is not kneaded. That's what makes it so easy. Because the texture of it's going to be fairly coarse, if you knead it, you'll end up making it more like Italian bread. Now, French bread has got a crust on it, and if you go to France, and you've eaten a lot of restaurants, you're going to end up eating a lot of French bread, and you're going to end up getting a callus in the roof of your mouth because of the hard crust. That's just the way it is. They just eat French bread with almost every meal in France. Now I'm going to clean this off my fingers and try to form it into, as much as I can, into a little ball. I'll dump the rest of my flour. Again, that was 7 cups of bread flour. And I just happen to like King Arthur flour because it's not bleached, and it also doesn't have any preservatives. Now, when they call flour bread flour, that's because it's got a lot of gluten in it. And gluten is the thing in flour, it's a starch that stretches, and that's what forms the little bubbles. When you get loaf bread and it's got little bubbles in it, that was formed by yeast and the gas that they give off, I guess, when they're reproducing. Now all this is good, even though it's all stuck to my hand. I'm going to get all that off, form it into a ball. Now I'm going to want a little more flour just to make it not quite so sticky. And I might even knead it a little bit. But you don't have to knead it. Just you want to get it all together in one big ball. And again, this is going to make 2 loaves. All right, that's good enough right there. Formed into a little ball. Now we're going to put this, see how quick this came together? We're going to put this in the greased bowl, and you're going to put it in and just turn it around a little bit. Get the top so that it's got some little bit of grease. In fact, what we want to do is maybe put a little oil on it, about a tablespoon. And that's just to make sure. You don't have to use the oil, but that's just to make sure it doesn't stick to the saran wrap. All right, now we're going to take it over here, and we're going to put it on my little secret weapon for making great bread, and that is a heating pad that I'm going to put on medium. And I'm going to put the bowl right here, and I'm going to cover it with saran wrap and let it rise for about an hour. And after it has risen for an hour, we will come back and show you how to form the loaves. All right, we're back, and our flour mixture with the yeast has doubled in bulk. And we're going to go over and I'm going to show you how to make it into loaves. First thing we're going to do is punch it down. Then I'm going to divide it into 2 sections, and I'm going to do that by just simply squeezing it. Now I've got me 2 sections. All right, now I'm going to put some flour on the table, and I'm going to roll this out. Just roll it out by hand. Mash it all down. Now I'm going to start rolling it up and just pinching it over as I roll it. Real quick. Alright, now I'm going to pinch these ends together. So just take your thumb and go under both your thumbs and just sort of pinch all the little seams together. And this will be the bottom of the loaf of French bread. And we'll pinch it all the way to the end. All right, I'm going to set that one aside. I'm going to do the next one. Just smooth it out with your hands. And then just start rolling it up. Now, French bread, of course, has that hard crust on it, and we're making ours exactly like the French make their bread. Pinch it together. All the way, even the very end of it, you're going to pinch together. All right. Now, I'm stretching it out a little bit. You want to sort of be even. Now, I'm going to take some of the cornmeal, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the table, and I'm going to roll both loaves in it. Just roll them in that cornmeal. All right. Get a little more on that one. All right. Now, this pan has been greased with a little Crisco and then dusted with cornmeal also. Now I'm going to position these on the pan. Excuse me. Kind of keep a distance between them, then they still might rise together. And the next thing we're going to do, your little razor blade. We're just going to make little slits. And the reason I use a razor blade is because a knife doesn't cut through it as easily. Just a whole bunch of little slits. All right. Get that little bubble out. Poking. All right. Now we're going to put it right back on our little secret weapon to make your bread rise up very nicely right on the heating pad. And I'm going to cover that up with more saran wrap and let it rise. Now, if these loaves aren't perfect, it's okay, because they're really not supposed to be perfect. So we'll let them rise for about another hour, and then we'll be back and show you how to cook them. All right, see you in a minute. All right, we're back, and our bread has doubled in bulk. Here it is. And we are going to now bake it at 450 degrees for about 25 minutes. All right, we'll be back as soon as it gets through, and I'll show you how to glaze it. Okay, our bread has finished baking, and now we're going to put a little egg wash on it. This is 1 egg and about a tablespoon of water. Now I'm just going to smear it on there real quick, and it's going to go back in the oven for 5 minutes. Now, after it has cooked for another 5 minutes, I'm going to take it out to a wire rack and cool it. Then I'm going to slice it up, and we'll come back and y'all can see what it looks like all done. Now, here's the recipe. Okay, we'll see y'all back in just a few minutes. Okay, our bread has completed cooking and cooling now. I want to show you how to slice it. Just gently hold it and saw it back and forth, and make sure you're using a serrated knife, because you don't want to mash it down and kind of crush the bread together. Alright, there's what it looks like. I'm going to put a little bit of butter on that. Now the best part of the bread, of course, is the end piece, because you got all that crust. Alright, there's the French bread, both loaves, and it really took a lot of time in waiting for the dough to rise. But remember, you can be doing all kinds of things in between that. Now I'm going to show you the secret to making really good yeast bread of any kind. And here it is. A heating pad. Just go to the drugstore and get your little heating pad. This one's got 3 settings on it, low, medium, and high. And I've used it for probably the last 30 years to make my yeast breads rise perfectly every time. Alright, that's it. I'm going to eat some bread now and see how this tastes. The crust is always kind of tough and hard. It's delicious. See you next time.